Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 220 of the Assets Over Money podcast. With me and my guy Kevin, man. KD, how you doing, bro?
Hey, bro, it's all blessings over here, man. Thankful, man. Just glad to be here, bro. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I think that the 20th episode, if we do the math, we do it every 2 weeks. I think we have 40 weeks, man.
Hey, that's all right there, man. That's consistency right there, bro.
Consistency. I like it. I like it, man. But yeah, man, I'm doing good, bro. I'm blessed, highly favored. Yeah, I'm feeling good, bro. It's another day. Friday Eve, favorite day of the week. So feeling good, man.
Yeah, bro. Get that Dreamville on, man. Hey, he's dreaming.
Always repping Dreamville, bro. Little known fact. Well, not a little known. Anybody who knows me knows this as a really, actually, really big fact or a real big part of my personality. I've been a huge J. Cole fan since I was in middle school. I like to say I was like one of his first fans because I knew about him before like anybody knew who he was, before all this mainstream stuff. I'm talking like mixtapes, like old stuff, man. So yeah, always repping Dreamville. My wife actually bought this one for me, and then all my other Dreamville stuff. I got stuff around the room, bro. Yeah,
Hey, you got a good wife there, man. That's North Carolina finest right there, bro.
he is, man.
For
Vietnam,
sure.
Vietnam from
Hey,
the Ville.
yeah, man. Hey, I just came from Fayetteville a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Looking at property, man, dog. Hey, it's you can get some cheap stuff down in Fayetteville, man, for real.
yeah, you can, man. I know a lot of folks. There's a big military market out there. It's a military base, so a lot of folks will buy out there, military wise.
That's
Really
it.
big military base, real big military base. So yeah, if you're looking, bro, you definitely got some potential options for sure, man.
Hey, I meant to ask you too, man. Didn't the president speak at West? No?
He did. So I wasn't here the weekend when he did. So he spoke at the graduation. Um,
Yeah.
which so every year here we have like either a president or a vice president or the secretary of the secretary of defense, secretary of the army, whatever, whoever is somebody big wig will come up here and speak at a graduation. It's funny. He
Right.
spoke at my graduation back in 2020 and he came back again this year to speak. But I wasn't here this weekend. I was that weekend when I was at a wedding. One of my boys' wedding. My boy got married, so I was out of town.
Word. How did it go? What'd you hear about it?
Heard it was cool. Yeah, it was. I saw some of the highlights of it. He shouted out one of the like star football players here and brought
Yeah.
him up on stage, which is pretty cool. Like regardless of your views, that's still pretty cool. You get to like go up there, like meet the president. He's shouting you out on like national television in front of everybody, talking about how great of a player you were and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Cool, man. Cool. I
Yeah.
meant to ask about that a couple weeks back.
Yeah. He was definitely here. I was not here, but when he comes on or anybody important comes on, bro, they shut the base down. Like Secret Service, everybody, bro. Like it's a military base already, so it's already on lock. But like different level when folks like
Yeah.
that come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
man.
yeah,
So what's in your world, man? You know what I'm saying? How's that baby?
baby's doing good, bro. 7 months old. He is said his first words the last couple of weeks. It's dad. You know, he doesn't know what he's saying though. He everything is dad or
Yeah.
but I credit it, to me.
Of
So I like
course.
to credit myself.
Of
You
course.
know, I was
You are
calling it.
you are
I
his
am
dad.
dad. That's what I'm saying. I am the father. So it's like he's not just not just saying that. I don't care
Yeah.
what those articles say about it's easier to say dad. It's gonna be the first. I don't care about none of that. I know what
Oh,
the
you
truth is.
happy for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. But shoot, man. I guess what do you say? Why don't you say we dive on in, bro? I'll tell the folks what we kind of talking about today.
Let's get it, man. Let's do it.
All right, y'all. So we want to take a little bit of a break, right? I know we are always having guests and whatnot come on here, but I don't know. I think it's right on time. We and Kevin decided just kind of talk about the importance, or really the real reason that you should want wealth, or what anybody should really want wealth, right? I think that, and Kevin, I guess you would agree with this, man. But there's too many people out there, people say chase the bag or chasing, you know, that lifestyle without really ever asking why that they're doing it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, man. I mean, people are out here, man, on autopilot, man, with no direction and no structure. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have that why. You got to understand what your why is. I think that's major in today's society right now. You know what I mean? Because so many people are out here just floating, man, like just on autopilot. Get up, go to work, pay your bills, you know, go out to eat maybe once or twice a week, and do it all over the next week, man. So I don't
Yeah,
know, bro, but I want to design my own life. I don't want to just make a living.
bro, 100%, man. And I think with that, man, is like it's right on time because tonight we're gonna be unpacking the deeper truth, right, of what I would say is what we would consider to be, wealth. Just from I know our experience, not saying that we are necessarily the wealthiest or or the greatest or whatever, but just from the things that we've been learning, the people we've been studying, the circles that we've been in, just to see some of the things that we've truly learned about what true wealth is, what purpose is, and what actual legacy is, right? So I guess
Right.
for you guys out there, four different talking points for tonight. Number one, kind of want to kick it off and kind of talk about what assets over money really means, right? So outside of just the name of the podcast, obviously, and outside of obviously we want to develop assets, cash flow and assets, to create wealth, but on a deeper meaning outside of financial terms. Like, so when I hear assets, right, I think about some of the things that you may not consider as assets, right? I think about like my faith asset. That's an asset. I think about family. I think about my character development. I think about, wisdom. And then I think about community. I mean, those are some of the things that I think about when I talk assets, right? So the importance of this podcast is not just strictly, let's just build cash flow and assets, talk about money, gain money. But, taking it deeper, we have assets all around them. And we can choose to invest in those assets, or we choose not to invest in those assets with the decisions that every decision we make and every indecision we make.
I would think so, man. I mean, because you look at the simple definitions of assets and liabilities. I mean, assets, help you increase, right? It's gonna help you. We're always talking about, you know, how an asset is gonna help us get us closer to our best version of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a liability is going to take away. You know what I mean? So like, we're always talking about financial terms, but at the end of the day, assets is going to put money back in your pocket. Liability is going to take money out of your pocket, right?
Yeah.
And so even if we're about money, a good relationship is an asset, right? Because you can leverage that relationship to get to the best version of yourself. So we want to
Yeah.
have assets side of money as well. That's going to help
Yeah.
us increase. Where we want to minimize the liabilities in our lives, right? The things that take away from us, bad relationships, just being not the greatest person in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's going to kind of take away from you being the best version of yourself. So we're always preaching assets and liabilities, man. But you just got to understand the difference between the two, because an asset is going to help propel you, whereas a liability is going to basically bring you down.
Yeah, man. And one of the things you kind of hit on there about the money aspect, right, is you can have money, right? But I think that wealth without legacy is pretty much it's empty, like you can have money, but if you don't leave behind anything that truly matters or you don't make any type of impact, it's almost like you kind of wasted your life, like very selfishly, even. Right? There's a lot of people out there, or just people you see, man, who make all this money, who we almost idolize, we put above everything else, or think that they have this great life, but they're not doing anything to change the world, make it better, or impact people's lives. And I truly think that's not living. You know what I mean? Or is a wasted life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. All wealthy people are not wealthy. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
say it like that, but I look at people that are wealthy, that are rich or have a lot of money, and if you're not helping the next man pull the next man up, or bring a group of people up, or giving back to the community to help establish stabilization across America or the world, you know it's not really worth it. I'm not really looking for to idolize those people. I'm not looking to idolize anyone really, but at the end of the day, we want to connect with quality people who are bringing other people up
Yeah.
and leaving that legacy behind them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Each one teach one. That's what they say, ain't it?
Hey, iron sharpens iron, man. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've always been told you should be in a constant state of bringing someone up, because someone's always going to be bringing you up as well. So
Yeah.
as long as you're being a blessing to someone, you're always going to have someone that's going to bless you. You know what I mean?
Amen to that, bro. Man, Actually, we'll keep it along the same run. I actually I put a scripture I wrote down. Um, that made me think about. I thought would be perfect for today. Put it on my phone, but it's Proverbs 13:22. Um, so I try to read a proverb a day. You know, there is 30 days in a month. There's 31 proverbs. So, well, 30 to
Yes.
31 days in a month, 31 proverbs. So try to get one a month. This is the wisdom book for y'all out there. In the Bible, and very, very easy to read. You
Right.
can read a chapter in less than 5 minutes. But yeah, Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So good. I mean, we getting biblical. So it's in a biblical sense, right? It's like you don't just want
Right.
to live. What you leave behind, your legacy truly, it matters. It matters, it matters, it matters. Right. And I think along that line is, you know how we always have those those would you rather type questions. I remember somebody asked me this is a while ago, years ago, but it always stuck with me, right? Somebody was like, right, it's essentially comparing short-term, financial gain versus like long-term impact. But somebody was like, would you rather make $10 million, right? Somebody hits you a check for $10 million tomorrow, or would you rather have a guaranteed way of creating generational like wealth or generational opportunity? For me, and I know a lot of people out here will give me crap on it, I'd much rather have like a guaranteed path of generational like wealth or generational opportunities, because that's what truly matters, man. I know I can make it happen regardless, right? And I would love to have $10 million, and people would argue, oh, you could take the 10 million, do X, Y, Z, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that impact is something that I hold in a very high regard. And I know I'd rather have a guaranteed source or guaranteed way to create generational impact for, millions and millions of people as opposed to $10 million. And that's just me personally. I don't know what you would choose. You might choose 10 million and be one of them folks who'd be like, all right, I think I can do X, Y, Z with the 10 million. But that's just me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I've heard that question before, and what I think about would first off, if you gave me $10 million in America, you taxed almost half of it. So that's gonna be
Tax
gone.
free. You looking at the
Half of it's gonna be
loopholes, man. Tax free.
hey. So now, if it's tax free, that's different, right? But if I gotta get taxed, then I'm looking at it a different way. But I'd rather have the 15,000 a month versus the 10 million. You know what I mean? Because that 15,000 is gonna stabilize me for one, and then on the next hand, I know that it'll be there every single month. I can grow that 10 million a lot easier if I had 15,000 coming in per month on a cash flow basis. Because as soon as you get that 10 million, hey, everybody and their mama gonna be like, yo, let me get a loan. What can I do to, get with you or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Just give me that quiet 15,000 a month. And I'll be good with that cash flow versus one big lump sum of 10 million, which is, I've always heard and I read, just because, you know, you get 10 million don't mean you're a millionaire.
Hmm.
So, you have to put that, you would have to put that. Think about all the people in the lottery, right? The people, 80% of people who win lottery go broke in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the understanding. We have a little bit better understanding. So, I mean, I could take the 10 million, but, me personally, I may just take the 15,000 a month for the rest of my life, yo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it comes down to it, right? Like preference. Everybody has their own preference. And people, I know I've had a lot of heated debates about this, man. But I don't know, man. It's just something about like impact.
Yeah.
It always
I mean,
is like,
granted, you take that 10 million and make an immediate impact. You know what I mean?
yeah,
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, now granted, both situations are gravy for me because I'll take
yeah.
that
You
10
can't, you
mil
really
and
can't go wrong.
I'll
Like,
make it.
I mean, let's be real. Like, if somebody handed me a check for $10 million flat out, I ain't gonna be like, oh, I don't want it. Give me something else. But if I had to pick between the two,
Yeah,
that's different. You know what I mean?
right, right. So I mean, I don't know anyone that's going to turn $10 million down right now. You know what I mean? Nobody. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's teach his own and whatever floats your boat. You know what I mean? Because I'm taking that 10 mil. Somebody catch me that check today. I'm gonna go buy probably two apartment buildings anyway.
Yeah.
So know, take out all my debt that I have, that credit cards, anything like that, student debt. I only have one student loan that I ever got, so now that was pocketed.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I'm saying? I would pay that off, take care of my daughter's school, you know, pay off my car,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I probably have a new car, but um, I would go out and buy two or three multi-family buildings and just take it and run with it that way.
Yeah.
Because tax man is come, Uncle Sam's gonna be knocking somewhere, some shape or form.
Yeah, for
So
sure, man.
I would be preparing for that and kind of just, kind of really carving out what I wanted to do for retirement. That's what I would be thinking about.
Yeah, because you old.
Nah, I mean, hey, bro, we all got to retire, dog.
That's very true. Very,
You know,
very true, bro. Yeah,
I'm just
man.
ahead of the curve, yo. I'm ahead of the curve. That's what that is, yo. My season makes me ahead of the curve.
There you go. Yeah, nobody would know that you're actually 60, bro. Black don't crack.
Whatever, yo. Don't put them years on me, bro. If I'm 60, you 50.
Yeah, I'll take it, bro. 10 years younger. I'll take 50. Yeah, I'll take it, bro.
Now,
but
as long as
but
it
yeah, man.
don't crack, as long as we good, and we looking good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man. But yeah, now I think that's solid, man. And diving into the second one, I really want to talk about like breaking down on a deeper level status versus substance, right? Like the first thing that comes to mind is I don't want to say mistakes that I made, but decisions that I've made, kind of chasing that status were similar to what we're just talking about, where you get a big check and like, oh man, like I need to go celebrate. Like I just made XYZ amount of dollars or 10,000, 20, whatever that it is. I need to go celebrate, right? So I remember, you know, I'll just talk about my first wholesale deal back in 2020. They handed me a check for 10,000, like 500 and like $3 or something like that, right? And I got that check and I was like, yo, this is, and this is the time like I just commissioned the army. I'm a second lieutenant in the army. I'm like, yo, this is like double, triple my salary that I make on a monthly basis, right? I'm like, this is crazy. What should
Yeah,
I do with this? And I'm like, all right, I need to take at least 10%, put it away for like taxes or whatever that it has at the end of the year. Cause I know I'm gonna have a whole bunch of write-offs or whatnot, but let me put away for taxes. Let me put some reinvested back into myself. But let me take a couple of G's and just go spend it on, XYZ, right? So I remember going out getting some fancy food or whatever, bro. Going out buying some fresh pair of shoes, some nice clothes, the new sunglass, whatever that it is, man. But like, and all that stuff is cool right in the moment, bro. But it's so fleeting. You know what I mean? It is so fleeting. And I look back at some of the things that I made. I don't necessarily regret them, but I was like, yo, I wish I would have taken this money and maybe instead of buying, a $300 sunglasses or spend $1,000 on shopping or whatever that it is. I wish I would have taken some of that money and maybe I should have bought some more leads or maybe I should have invested more in the education, which I did, but focus more so on the things of value, the things of substance, as opposed to, things that would be called like status, right? Like get the check, like take some pictures, flex a little bit on Instagram, let people know that you're making money. But it's like, who am I really impressing? You know what I mean? Or who am I really doing that for? Or why do I value what other people's opinions are of me as opposed to how I value myself,
yeah, man. I mean, we both come from communities, dog, that have been, held back throughout history. You know what I'm saying? And so, like us as black and brown folk, man, you know what I mean? That shiny object to show people that we got it. It's like ingrained almost to a certain extent, right? And so we have to go out there and hey, get that new car, get those new clothes, get that new shoes, get them new glasses, just to show people like, look, this is what we doing. We got it like that, right? Whereas, the other side, they don't get it like that. They're not, they don't have to be laced with Gucci and Prada. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you structure your money now. Like, now that I'm grown and I understand how money works, I have a structure of how, if I get a big check, on how it's broke down, right? Because you got to go take and spend some on yourself. You know what I'm
Of
saying? You
course.
got to do that, but you have to basically put it in you have to structure it. So like now, if I get a $10,000 check, 5,000 is already going to expenses,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm break down the other five 10% wise, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. So if I got 10% for tithing, I got 10% for just the blow. You know what I'm saying? Just to go out here and blow. Like if you want to go get you some clothes or just go out to eat and shop and do all that. I got long-term savings. I got my golden goose account, and I got my education account, right? The account that I'm going to go out here and go to seminars and, go try to increase my education for our business, right? Having that breakdown, kind of, you already know where your money's going. And now hey, I got $1,000 to go out here and blow and spend on myself if I want to, right? You got your tithing money. You got your long-term savings for spending. Say if you got a kid's college graduation fund or something like that, whatever. And you got your golden goose account, which is your investment account, right? That's never going to go below what you invest in it. And then you have your education account, which is going out here and going to seminars, connecting with people, and traveling if you have to do that. But you always got to have a plan always for where your money needs to go. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make those dollars work for you. And that's one thing about it. One thing I love about The Richest Man in Babylon. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
books, right? Having that breakdown on where your money needs to go is just, it puts you it makes you think first off, but then it's like, so many of us get our check and we just, we know we got bills, but the rest is just spent out. If you're strategically putting those in places where it's going to grow, your money don't have any choice but to work for you.
Bro, 100%. 100%, man. Yeah.
So that piece is tough, man. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, we come from a community that never had nothing. You know what I'm saying? And we want things and we love things, but at the same time, we have to be intentional on what the ultimate goal is and what the legacy we want to leave, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us just flying, on autopilot, man, and it's crazy, but the world is. But if you don't put some type of intentionality on how you spend your money and how you're saving and how you're investing, man, you'll get lost in the sauce and you'll be living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. We also come from a community, bro, that likes to spend it before we get it, man. Spend, keep up with the Joneses. Who the freshest in the hood.
Yes, yo, you know what I'm saying, dog? You better believe it. And so that's been ingrained in us. If we're not able to go back to the default settings and dump those old files and install new ones for investing, saving, you know what I mean? Legacy. If we're not doing that, we're lost in the sauce, man.
Bro, used to blow my mind. I remember as a kid or whatever, my dad, we'd be driving around. My dad would take us all around, right? We'd be going through the hood or whatever. And I remember, man, it used to blow my mind. My dad used to always instill lessons in me, right? So everything he did was pretty intentional. I remember driving by houses, bro. Houses broke down or whatever, and they got these expensive cars just sitting right outside the house. And I'm like, yo, why is your car more expensive than your house? You know what I mean? And it comes down, at the end of the day, you do what you want, you value-wise, but bro, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Or you got the freshest clothes on, you got the back in the day, you got the Gucci, you got the Coogee or whatever, you got the freshest clothes on, but then you live in paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? It just don't make sense. And it's all, again, things that are all more status as opposed to substance. So question I actually got for you, I'm curious to hear your answer. All right, would be actually very curious to hear this. What is one thing you think money will never be able to buy for you?
I would say happiness.
Put you on the spot a little bit.
Huh?
So I'm putting you on the spot a little bit there.
Dog, money is never gonna make you happy.
Okay. You don't think money gonna buy happy? You don't think money can buy happiness?
Nah, because happiness comes from the inside, right? You can have all the money in the world, right? But you can still be miserable. So at the end of the day, it's never gonna buy you happiness. You can, material things can make you happy, but you can still be miserable on the inside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Granted, I can go out here, if I'm a billionaire or whatever, I can go out here and do whatever I want. But at the end of the day, if I don't have family, if I don't have people around me that encourage me and motivate me, inspire me, if I'm not doing that for other people, then you're going to be miserable. And, at the end of the day, that money's not going to buy you happiness. Happiness comes from the inside. So, I'd rather be broke and happy than super rich and miserable.
Yeah, that's fair. I see, I see that, I see what you're saying, and I see some of it a little differently as well too, right? I think that money, while it can't buy happiness, I think it can definitely help though.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it can definitely help for sure.
it could definitely
Um,
help for real.
it can help out a lot for 100% sure. I think that with that, because like same argument I've heard people make for people who are who are broke, right, or people who don't necessarily have it. Yeah, being broke don't necessarily buy happiness either, and you can
Oh,
have love in both. When I look at that question, some of the things that I think about is something that money will never be able to buy. And this is something you can kind of, you can argue it, but this is just, my opinion. Is I don't think it can buy like a true like legacy outside of just like, what you leave behind, like from like a something that's tangible, right? I'm talking more so like intangibles. Money's not going to buy can't buy you the type of person that you are. It's not going to buy, your character. It's not going to buy how you are when nobody's looking, right? Like I don't know. I was talking with somebody today. We are talking about Ellen. Yeah, you saw those articles that came out about Ellen talking about how everybody how she seems like a great person. I was like, oh, Ellen's cool, man. She always seems cool dancing around, but apparently, like behind the scenes, she is
she's the
terrible. Like
worst.
she's
She's
extremely,
the worst person
but,
ever.
but which is crazy to me. And I think that like that's somebody perfect example. Somebody who's extremely rich, but money is
Right.
not gonna change that. In fact, it may even make it worse for most people. A lot of times it makes it worse. So you can get like I can just do what I want, which is true. And that's part of the reason I want money is I want to be able to do what I want without having people tell me to do. You got to do this X Y Z. But yeah, I don't think money can truly buy like your character or the type of person that you are at your root.
Money
Um,
is only gonna make you who you really are. It's
yeah,
gonna,
it'll bring out your true colors.
yeah, exactly. So if you're a dick without money, you want to be a dick with money.
Yeah, that's probably very accurate, man. Um, and I think when I think of like cool rich dudes, bro, I think of like Adam Sandler. You ever see Adam Sandler? How he just out there, bro, just chilling, straight
Dog, yeah,
sweats,
like a poor man.
bro, and I love it. And
Yeah,
I heard there was a Mark Cuban quote about or somebody was maybe it was either his quote or somebody talking about him, but it was talking about like how just be weary or beware of the person who's truly making the decisions in a room. If you see have a room full of like rich people, wealthy people, look at the person who is sitting there dressed in sweats or wearing a t-shirt or whatever. And he was saying basically somebody asked me, he's like, oh, you're a billionaire, you're XYZ. Why do you dress this way? And he's like, he worked his absolute like I worked my ass off and I worked my tail off my whole entire life to get to the point to where I can do whatever I want. And I love that, right? So because we as people, we have like this whole concept in our mind of what rich people really are. It's like person in the fresh suit, person in the the nicest car, XYZ, yada yada yada. And there is some truth to that, but it's not necessarily 100% true. There's a book, you read it, book we've quoted on here a couple times. A book I actually haven't touched in years, but some of the principles stuck to me. The Millionaire Next Door, that talks about what the true like modern day or the everyday what billionaires really look like in America. They usually live
yeah,
right
man.
next to you. They have good savings. They have good, yeah, they have good savings. They have good principles. They have good foundation, and that's really what makes them, makes them them.
Yeah, man. I mean, you look at J. Cole, right? I mean, he's the, epitome of that.
Perfect example.
You know what I'm saying? Dreamville all day long, right? But you think about the, I guess, what rappers are usually looking like, right? They're blinged out, they're iced out, chains, a ton of, labels on. And then here you go, you got J. Cole, owner, part owner of the Hornets, doesn't hardly wear any jewelry when I see him. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, they're riding bikes through New York City, bro.
dog, we used to see him in games like, dog, I used to be like, bro, he looks so like ordinary. You know what I mean? Like common guy. And he's like the black version of Adam Sandler, if you ask me, but he just happens to be a rapper. But man, I love his style, man. I love the way he takes on life, man. And you don't have to be the loudest person in the room, even with your clothes or your jewelry or whatever. You ain't got to do that to make a path for yourself. You know what I mean? So I mean, I love that, and I'm even kind of coming down off of that too, because even for me, like, I used to love labels. I used to love, designer clothing and stuff like that. And it's like, man, that shit ain't worth nothing. You know what I mean? It ain't worth nothing. I'd rather wear a black t-shirt and some pants and and nothing on it. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the day, man, is we've been ingrained with that as our community, as the black community, bro. It's been pushed on us, if you ask me. You know what I mean? It's all about one reason why I think the name assets over liabilities, the assets over money came up because as black people, man, money has been pushed on us, right? You think about rap videos and rappers, all they talk about is money. Money, 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 right? It's always money making it rain or whatever. But ain't nobody ever talking about no assets or, what I'm saying, anything that's going to help bring the money in, right? Because that money is going to ultimately fade. You're thinking about all professional athletes right now. I think like 60% of NBA guys go broke or go bankrupt, right? I think it's like 80% for NFL.
Man.
And it's just because you give them $1 million check do not make them a millionaire, right? They're so caught up in the now, they're not thinking down the road. And then next thing you know, your career is over and those checks stop and you still got all these bills coming in. You know what I mean? You never prepared for the future. We've been ingrained to just say, hey, the cash, the cash, the cash. But it is really the assets. It's been like kind of held from us for so long. Like the assets is what it's about. Being able to pass that down to my grandkids' kids. You know what I'm saying? That's the lineage that we want to leave. Now, because hey, the dollar bill right now is tanking, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dollar bill is tanking. So if you don't have assets that can produce and cash flow you every month, you're gonna be behind if you're thinking just cash. I mean, my grandma used to have the little small $100 bills, bro. That's back in the day. The baby $100 bills, and it'll be under her bed. You feel me?
Yeah.
And of course, she didn't know. Hey, she's losing money on that, even if it's under your bed. So, hey, cash is good, but an asset is better.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect segue, bro. Talking about some of the things we're talking about into the next topic. I guess really just sharing some stories about times to where I guess we really made mistakes. I guess areas where we were like chasing status as opposed to like our purpose, I guess, or substance. I guess do you have any examples of times where you were like for sure like chasing success or chasing things for wrong reasons or any mistakes that you made like focused on say I'm gonna go spend my money this way. Looking back at it now, I wish I would have done XYZ.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I first started my real estate career, I mean, just
Okay.
like you said, what I'm saying, when you made that first wholesale deal, right, and you had 10 grand come into your pocket, and you like, yo, we about to go eat at Sizzlers the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Dog, I mean, we didn't understand again. Going back, and I hate to harp on this, but going back to our community, we were never taught what to do with the money, right?
Mhm.
So we kind of had to go through that. I had to kind of go through that to kind of understand, like, all right, so a big check is good, but for one, you're gonna get taxed on it, and then two, you're gonna spend it as soon as you get it, right? So if you don't have any structure or don't have any jobs for those dollars to go to, you're gonna spend it and you're gonna be looking back. I mean, my dad was a gambler, right? So I grew up in a pool hall. My mom was a nurse, so like, and they were divorced. So like I learned how to get money fast and blow it fast, right? And on the other hand, my mom taught me how to get a job, work for someone for 40 years, get benefits, and then retire, right? So I didn't have any middle ground as far as the entrepreneurship. It was either we're getting it fast and we're blowing it fast, or we got to work for someone for 40 years. Hey, ain't going down in today's society, right? No one I know is going to work for 40 years for someone.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But being able to understand and see that now, I had to kind of go through that phase of just blowing money, right? Just blowing it, not thinking about the future. And then one day it hit me. Like I'm not a spring chicken anymore, right? So I have to kind of prepare for, retirement. I got to prepare for down the road when my daughter gets older, if she has a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I, I want my grandkids' kids to know who I am.
Yeah.
And so that forward thinking, I had to kind of learn that because at first, I mean, dog, hey, most of my people that I knew was living paycheck to paycheck or selling dope or in the street or locked up. And, no one had any assets. So I kind of had to go through that and kind of understand exactly what I wanted and what my why was to kind of push me in that direction of, okay, let's reel it back in. Let's
Mm.
understand what we need per month to kind of live the way we want to live, and what type of assets do I need to put me in that position.
Yeah.
So, it's just it's tough when you when you don't learn, right? I mean, they
Right.
always hide something from a black person, put it in a book.
Yeah.
And so I told you before, I didn't like to read that much when I was younger.
Yeah. Let me pause you there because I think you're going somewhere that I think was um really essential, and it's kind of like the next topic, so we can kind of just jump into that one. But it's the importance of having a why. What would you say? I guess your why is or was or some of the things that you're focused on, and how that has kind of shaped the way that you make decisions today.
I didn't really have a why when I was younger. It
Okay.
was just floating from the seat of my pants, like a lot of Americans do today, right?
Hmm.
Going autopilot until I had to kind of understand exactly what I wanted and what the goal was, right? And then I had a kid, and then she's always needing something. She's always growing. She's always hungry. I had to kind of change my thought process, right?
Yeah.
On because I mean we've gotten checks for $400,000 and $500,000 at one time,
Hmm.
right? And it's at the end of the day, I ain't never had no checks like that when I was coming up. No one that I knew had ever got a check like that.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to basically utilize that to move forward because I wasn't working a 40-hour week job. I wasn't getting a check every 2 weeks. And I had to understand, like, what is my legacy going to be when I'm dead? You know what I mean? What are my grandkids' kids going to be saying about me? And so once I start asking myself those questions, you kind of put yourself in a position where you have to make a decision, right? I learned a long time ago, you can either design a life or you can just make a living. When
Hmm.
I first heard that, it struck me because like I was like, most of the people I know I've ever come up with are just making a living. I mean, I even thinking about, my mom, my dad, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, dog, they went from check to check to check.
Yeah.
And they complained and they were upset because that's all they could do, right? They felt that was the only thing that they could do would be to work this 40-hour week job that they hated, pay your bills, get up and go back. They give you 1 week for vacation a year, and that's it, right? And so I started to think, well, I don't want to just make a living. I want to design a life for myself. And
All
so
right.
if I want to design a life, how do I do that? What's the process? Who are the people I need to do that? And so that's when I started really pursuing real estate hardcore, right? Because,
Mhm.
the thing that I knew was that the real estate industry made the most millionaires in this country. And
Yeah.
so if anything, I know that I can become a millionaire or be financially free through real estate. And
Yeah.
so I really pursuing that. And, at first we were flipping houses. I mean, in which we still flip houses and we still build houses. But, you know, once what comes with flipping a house is, capital gains tax. We had to learn that, right? That 500,000 got chopped down. And, if you're getting a paycheck, you're gonna get taxed. We had to learn those things, right? Because they were never taught to us in high school or middle school or even in college. And I didn't have people around me that was like, you know, get you some assets, get you some assets. Everybody that I talked to was, hey, get a job and try to get some benefits and
Yeah.
get a company that you can work for forever, right? And so once I started understanding what cash flow was and what leverage was, it kind of turned my whole strategy around, right? Because we went from flipping houses, hard getting big checks, to now looking for apartment buildings, right? And thinking about cash flow and lowering my tax liability and going in that route because it's about the long term play versus just getting a check every 2 weeks, right? And so that's kind of what propelled me to kind of move from just flipping houses to cash flow and leverage every single month. And like I said, a lot of folks where I'm from, man, I didn't even know what cash flow was. I
Yeah.
didn't know what cash flow and leverage was as a, coming through high school and college and a lot of my adult life. I didn't understand what cash flow was. I just thought it was having a wad of cash, right?
Mhm.
But understanding now that cash flow and leverage are actually financial terms that everybody should be learning about. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's the only way that you're going to kind of pull away and become free in this world we're in right now.
Yeah. No, man, I think you said a lot of good things there. So I guess better question for you. What is your why today? Like on a deeper level, right? So I know the things you're pursuing, and then what you're trying to accomplish with those, or the things that they accomplish. Why though? Like why is that so important to you?
Because for one, freedom, right? We
Okay.
want the freedom to do the things that we want to do.
Mhm.
And then two, my daughter, right? I mean, you got a new son right now, right? You want to be able to install in him ideas that's going to help him be the best version of himself, right?
Yeah.
And if you're only teaching him to go get a job and work for someone for 40 years, you're doing him a disservice, right?
Mhm.
Because the way things are going now, people are losing their jobs left and right. I just gotta, I'm going to eat lunch with a frat brother tomorrow. He was with his job. I know he was probably had a great job too. He was there for about 12 years.
Damn.
Just got let go like 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So some people can't juggle that. And so understanding like what's going on in America right now, you have to have that piece of entrepreneurial spirit to be able to say, you know what? Yeah, I have this job, but I know if anything happens to that job, I have something to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
And Social Security ain't gonna be around for us, bro. Especially not you, bro. You every bit of 14. So like, you ain't gonna have Social Security.
I'll take it, bro. I'll take
You
it.
know,
Take that. My hairline says I'm 50. You say I'm 14. I guess the young face, bro. So I'll take it.
That's it. But again, Social Security ain't gonna be around when we retire, right? So like 401k is not gonna you can't rely on 401k to save you. Not the way the stock market is going right now.
And
It's
even, bro,
too
even if it
volatile.
does, man, like I think that there's one of the things once we got to like the college, right? We had the opportunity. Looking back, I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt. I wish I would have made some things a little differently, but I did use some of it towards real estate. Wish I would have used more looking back at it. But my junior year of college, they give you what's called a career starter loan, which you can get at any point. Like I guess anybody can get it, but the kicker at the academies. So at West Point, they gave us my junior year $36,000 at a 0.75 interest rate.
That
Right,
was was
career
that or just for anything?
career that was for anything. You could take it and do anything with it. Yeah,
Get
and
that.
bro, so I took it, and I made some good decision with. I use a good bit of it for real estate. I use some of it to max out my Roth IRA for a couple of years and things like that. And that's what they tell you. Like when we got that money or taking this loan, they're like, you need to invest this into your retirement, invest it into your retirement. And what kept spinning around in my head is I did it right, but I'm like, man, why am I guess it's one of the things that kind of kicked my entrepreneurial like journey. I was like, well, why am I putting this? Why am I investing so heavily into something that is like a game plan of me retiring at 60 when I want to retire like at 30? You know what I mean? So it's like, why am I investing so heavily in this? Right. So listening to Alex Hormozy, he talks about it's like instead of investing in the S&P, you need to invest in the SME. He's like, I invest in the SME, right? So I'm putting money into where I want to put them. It may be into my businesses, it may be in my education, it may be into other accounts that I'm looking at, what have you. But put it in investing your money, like I guess really aligning your investments, aligning your spending with what your values are and what your goals are, right? Like I'd rather, this isn't going to be the case for me just because I will not allow it to be, but like I'm crazy enough to believe that I can achieve anything that I put my mind to, right? So I would much rather, try my whole life trying to hit a goal as opposed to just going status quo my entire life and wishing, what if, right? J. Cole says this, I say it all the time. The only thing worse than death is a regret-filled coffin, right? So try before you die or always wonder what if.
Again, say that again.
Yeah, only thing worse than death is a regret-filled coffin. So try before you die or always wonder what if. And I'm like,
that's it,
bro, it's just I think that it's real. But all that to say is I think a lot of times we need to align our spending, align our money, or align our values with our pockets, with our checkbook, right? As opposed to just doing what the norm is. I'm not just saying like that for most people, bro, that's the perfect route. And like we should be doing that. But it's like I just wish it's like, hey, like as opposed to doing this, maybe look into XYZ or maybe consider doing XYZ with that. Because a 0.75 interest rate, bro, that's like free money. You put it in any investment account, right? The money you're making back, your returns should be more than what you're making payments on, depending on how the payment structure and whatnot.
Man,
but
yeah, 7.5, yeah, that's unheard of.
yeah, it's crazy. And I don't know what it is now because interest rates are going up and stuff, but it's pretty low. We had like some type of partnership with USA or whatever. But all that to say, man, I think that the why is what propels you to do anything in life. And I just encourage all you folks out there, man, if you don't have a why, try to develop one. And don't even try, you need to develop one because that is what keeps you going when things get hard, as they always will. I'm not going to sit up here and, quote, don't quit or anything like no poems or nothing like that. But things are always going to get hard. Always going to be, that's all part of life. You have ups and downs. Things are going to get hard. When things get hard, what happens? Do you fold up and quit? Or do you persevere? Do you push through? Do you lean back on your why and push through, man? I'm a very motivated individual because, again, I'm crazy enough to believe that I can whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve. And I believe we as people, regardless of where we come from, we see it all the time, man. People from the worst possible areas, the worst upbringing, people who you would think have like literally no chance come out and become millionaires, some of the richest people in the world. So there's no excuse on the reason why you can't do it. There's no excuse, right? So all I have to say, man.
Yeah, dog, you spot on with that, bro. I mean, like, I think another thing too for the viewers out there, man, is like, understand, go read a book, man, on whatever it is that you want to do in life. Connect with people that are doing it, right? I think so many of our folks, like I used to hear a lot of times when I was coming up and growing up about being debt free, right? Debt free. I want to be debt free. John Ramsey, University Peace or something, Financial Peace or something.
You mean Dave Ramsey?
Dave Ramsey. What did I say?
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, you said John. Yeah, it was all good. Dave, John.
No, I don't know who he is, right? I just know what he was talking about. He would want to be debt free. Most millionaires and billionaires have a ton of debt, right? But it's about having good debt versus bad debt, right? And see, a lot of our people don't even know the difference between the two, right? They just think they need to be debt free. And hey, I'm gonna use my job to get debt free. And then by that time, you done work hard as hell for 40 years and ain't got no assets, and you still got a little bit of debt.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas, leveraging that debt to put money in your pocket is a win. You know what I'm saying? So for all the viewers out there and for all the people that come from, communities that we come from and look like us, like, understand that being debt free is not the best thing. You know what I mean? If you want to be wealthy, you want to scale your business, you want to be, rich, you're going to have some debt that's bringing you some money every day. You know what I mean? So just get that through your skulls. You know what I mean? I used to think, hey, I want to be debt free. Nah, we got a ton of debt right now. But the thing about it is it's paying us back. And so, like, I'd rather be getting paid off of my debt than trying to, minimize it.
Facts, bro. But yeah, man. Outside of that, bro, I think that wraps it up, man. That's all I got. You got anything else you want to add, or?
Hey, man, it's the 20th episode, bro. 20 episodes. Cuz, hey, that's consistency, man. That's consistency, man. I'm glad I'm doing it with you, bro.
Yeah, me too, bro. Hey, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Happy Friday Eve. Hope y'all have a great weekend. This is episode 20. This was episode 20 of the Assets Over Money podcast. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Peace.
Later.